T-Bone and Heather in the morning on Star 98.3 and 97.7 The Bay.
That's happening. 12 minutes after 7 o'clock, 7:12. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to it.
Here's Johnny.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We are halfway through the summer movie season.
Can you believe that?
All right, not really halfway. I always look at it differently. By a calendar, we're halfway, but it always seems like everything's very front-loaded on May and June.
Yeah.
And then you have July 4th weekend, and then it just kind of crashes.
Trickles,
And you have one movie in August that's good. Not quite the case this year. The biggest movie of the summer, obviously, is Deadpool and Wolverine, which comes out in 2 weeks.
That's going to be huge.
If it's not, then we know cinema is dead.
And the end of times.
Honestly,
it's the end of times.
Yeah. I mean, you see, like, Inside Out, too, and there's got to be a psychology to this. I'm sure they're figuring it out because it's, obviously been a really rough summer and year for movie theaters. And, Horizon, an American Saga, the Kevin Costner epic.
We were
talking about that.
just talking about
it. 4 planned films, they shot 2 and they pulled it off the schedule. So, not good for some, but then other movies, like Inside Out 2, perform how they would have before COVID. And,
It is the biggest Pixar, highest grossing movie ever now. $1.3 billion.
Wow.
I haven't looked at the numbers for like a week. I didn't know what.
Inside Out, the largest Pixar movie ever.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I mean it was good. Don't get me wrong, it was cute, but number one, it wasn't as good as the first one.
They
I would
rarely
say.
are.
Yeah, and I mean it was up there. It was very close to it, but it wasn't as good as it. But it's definitely not Toy Story or Toy Story 2.
Right,
You gotta measure it against
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So
Or Up. Or, any
or
of them.
really a lot of them, you know. But yeah, it's like people are being more choosy, but understanding what they're choosing because there's other kids, not just because it's a kids movie. There's been other kids movies that didn't perform this summer either. So,
Right.
But this weekend we have 2 very, very different films. For the kids though, there's a re-release of Lion King, the animated version, not the live action. Yeah, it's playing in spotted theaters around, but it's they're doing a lot of that. You're seeing a lot of concert films and a lot of re-releases of known quantities as theaters try to make their money. But everything else is adult based and very, very different. We have first Fly Me to the Moon.
I think that's going to do well.
Yeah, you think it is, but this is the kind of movie that should do well, but hasn't been. And it'll be interesting because
it looks good.
You don't get bigger than Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson,
right?
So they play Channing Tatum plays an astronaut. It's part of the Apollo 11 mission, and essentially NASA's having a PR problem. People aren't excited about space anymore. They bring in Scarlett Johansson as a PR person.
Okay.
And as you can imagine, sparks fly.
I said they might, yes.
Yeah.
Because they're so pretty.
Right. Yeah.
And they're pretty together.
Yeah, and you look at them and you're like, I can't believe these 2 never worked together before. But yeah,
they never did.
Never did. And the chemistry makes movies sometimes. You could literally, the chemistry these 2 have is...
Isn't he still single?
No. He's not.
Is he married?
In real life? No, he's not. She's married.
But is he married?
I think in a very committed relationship.
Oh, you guys are adorable. Like, that matters on a film set.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
hello, Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I saw them doing like the little press thing.
Yeah.
And she is draped on him like a curtain.
Really?
And I went, oh, remember when Mr. and Mrs. Smith came out and everybody went, oh, something's going on there.
Poor Colin Jost. He's one of the funny guys. He showed us funny guys that you could get to the stars.
Yeah, until you get Magic Mike walking in.
Yeah. Until the high school quarterback walks in and takes your girl again.
Right. Oh.
But yeah, no, the story is good. It's nothing groundbreaking. The script is good.
Is it based on a true story or
no? Well,
Depends
true
on who you
story, kind of. I mean, Apollo 11 was a real mission, and they were having PR problems, but the rest of it's kind of a historical fiction. And but the chemistry between those 2 carries this movie. So it's definitely a good. It's not really a rom-com, but it trends that way. And we haven't seen its like, at least not in theaters, in some time. So,
okay, great.
Yeah, and then on the other side of the aisle, we have Longlegs, which is Longlegs. Nicolas Cage and Micah Monroe.
Did you hear Nicolas Cage's son just got arrested for assaulting his stepmother?
Have you seen Nicolas Cage's son? I'm not surprised.
I have.
I've heard nothing of this movie. What is it?
So, yeah, it's it's weird. The marketing for it, like, there's been buzz for this movie for literally like 8 or 9 months, and they released trailers in like teaser trailer to the truest form, like it was just a symbol, and like being really, really mysterious about it. But it's Micah Monroe plays a law enforcement agent that's hunting down a serial killer.
Okay.
Nicolas Cage has said serial killer. And she's, led through the mystery by a series of occult like clues that she finds and has to keep searching. And
this is right down my alley.
Yeah. And a lot of, it's more tantamount to a Silence of the Lambs than a Halloween or Friday the 13th, but it is a horror movie. People, this is one of those movies, people are like, scariest movie of the decade, scariest movie of the year, you'll pass out.
All right.
But it's not that, but it is really good. It is you're going to feel like you need a shower after this movie.
Oh, gosh.
It's very, very
You're not going to watch it, are you?
Probably not, no.
Yeah, it's very dark.
Watch it.
I like my Nicolas Cage. I like Nicolas Cage in, the thing he just did with Pascal.
Weight of unbelievable talent.
I thought that was great,
Yeah.
But scary Nicolas Cage, not
Well,
so
it's funny
much.
because we don't see a lot of scary.
Didn't he just do a vampire movie, Renfro or
Renfield? But it was
Renfield?
more funny than scary, really.
Yeah.
And that's usually the Nicolas. You get this Nicolas Cage that can be.
I like Valley Girls, Nicolas Cage.
He can be when he can be off-putting, and he's definitely always odd. But we've never seen him like truly scary.
I saw him in something that I really liked, and nobody watched it but T and I. The Retirement Plan. Did you see that with him?
No, I didn't even hear of that.
It was good. It was a
think of-
simple and sweet movie. Leave your brain at the door, and he was really good at it.
He always did good. Now, like the one where he forgets who he is, or no, it's like it's basically like Dickens. What was it? Oh, it was almost like It's a Wonderful Life. It came out in like the late '90s. The Weatherman, I think.
The
or something
Weatherman.
Oh,
yes.
sure.
Like movies like that, he was always good in.
Best Nicolas Cage movie, go.
Gone in 60 Seconds, I think. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, serious. No, maybe The
Okay.
Rock.
No, okay, all right, that's the one I was thinking.
Are
Yeah,
you
The Rock.
kidding me?
No,
the
I was
best one ever?
I think when I think of Nicolas Cage,
What do you
I
think
think he
of?
was in his Nicolas Cage-esque best with The Rock.
Yeah, because he's as quirky as can be, but
Yeah.
he's also restrained. Like
I don't know.
I know people
Maybe
love
we
it.
disassemble some bombs.
That was actually a really good Nicolas Cage. If you guys could have seen the physical form, that was astounding. But yeah, when he goes too overboard, like I get it, but
And he
it's
didn't go
entertaining.
too overboard
No,
in The Rock or Con Air, which, by the way, are the same movie. How about Face Off?
dare you?
Yeah,
How about Face Off?
They have entirely different haircuts in both movies. Number one,
Yeah.
one's in a plane, the other one's at a prison. Jeez, no,
Honestly, between you and I, sometimes I can't even talk to her.
yeah.
like there's no common ground.
No, my favorite bit in that whole movie is like a subtle bit in the very beginning when his girlfriend tells him he's pregnant, and she's like,
they're pregnant.
Yeah, they're pregnant, and she's like, "Well, you just said you didn't want kids a minute ago." He's like, "Well, gee, hon, kind of a lot's changed since then."
That's Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
is the best.
It's his subtle Nicolas Cage is better Nicolas Cage, and this is subtle, scary Nicolas Cage. Like this is
I'm
him.
gonna watch that 100
This
times.
is all of his oddity, all of his quirkiness turned up to a horror 11, and
Right.
and it's creepy as all hell. That's the best way I can describe
And
this
he
movie.
is an Oscar winner, remember? So
For Moonstruck, and
Well, yeah,
a lot of people.
if-
Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah, if you're gonna go that route, all of us should have said Leaving Las Vegas, but we all know
it wasn't
Yeah.
Leaving Las
it's
Vegas.
The Rock.
Yeah, you can't judge what's best by the Oscars.
No.
How about streaming this week?
Well, that's about. I know we're running short on time now, but the biggest thing really this week. Those movies are both great, but there are so many awesome shows going on right now. There's House of the Dragon, which has climbed the impossible hill and really, has attained Game of Thrones level quality in its second season.
Wow.
People are talking about it everywhere. It'll never be Game of Thrones, but they are putting something together that's amazing with this series. I mean, you have characters like Sir Kristen Cole, who is the new everybody hates this guy.
Okay.
And everybody loves to hate this guy.
Joffrey?
Yeah, he's basically he's you hate him as much as you hated Joffrey.
Right.
And then you have dragon battles and all this stuff, and it's really starting to turn up. This last episode, we saw the first dragon battle of the series.
Oh,
and they're doing some amazing television. Then you have The Boys, which is,
Yeah.
it got too. I'll be honest with you, it got too gross for me. It got too gross for me, and I turned it off.
That is a feeling I can understand and I can appreciate. But what I can't is the people that were too dumb to realize that it was who it was making fun of the whole time. And now in season 4, they've kind of turned down the subtlety and turned up the obviousness that it's a parallel for today's world.
Sure.
And you get a lot of people that feel like they're being slighted. And it's like,
you didn't see it?
You didn't know Homelander, the guy that lasers people's heads off, was the bad guy?
Right.
Then we might have to have more of a talk. But,
right. He's a bad guy.
But, this season's not as good as previous seasons, but there are some great storylines.
I like Acolyte on Disney Plus. I mean, I've been enjoying that too.
The A-Train storyline on The Boys is the one to watch for that show. And then the Acolyte, I don't get the hate for Star Wars shows. They've been, I mean, obviously,
well, listen, the hate for Star Wars shows is exactly what I've talked about many, many times. It is the Nickelback hate. Everybody hates on it because it's cool to hate on it.
Yeah.
But silently and secretly, you love it.
And I'm okay with that for random people on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. But what really irks me is the critics, the people that say they do this for a profession, that do that same thing. It's like, no, have some dignity and say what you actually think. Because there's no way you think these shows are as bad as they are. I mean, the Acolyte, the villain in the Acolyte is amazing.
Yeah. He is evil.
Yeah, and if you like Jedi, you're seeing them at the height of their power. And there's a lot of really cool themes. So there's a lot of good TV on right now.
Make Acolyte better?
What's that?
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage and Nickelback.
Can I get a lightsaber? That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.